from not doing what we are taught to do. In the case of a very important antibiotic, penicillin, does everybody remember the story of how Alexander Fleming was looking at his bacteria plate, and when he noticed that the spot on the plate, there was a contaminant, we've been taught to throw away the plates that have a contaminant on them. But instead, he looked at the plate and he said, there's something about this that's intriguing, that the bacteria could not grow on the spot where the contaminant was. Please change the slide. One of your own.
Story of penicillin.
I said that. I said that. Yes.
First antibiotic.
Was I unclear?
First antibiotic.
First antibiotic, penicillin. That's correct. Okay, so change the slide. All right. This is an example from your own country. Dr. C.V. Raman, he was unable to accept Lord Raleigh's explanation that the color of the sea was due to the reflection of the color of the sky. He challenged the current thinking of the time. And from studying the sea on his ride back to India, he came to the conclusion that, in fact, the molecules were absorbing the light from the sun and scattering it. So we can ask, how do we foster young minds to challenge their teachers in the ideas? Not disrespectfully, but to think and take ownership of the ideas that are taught. Please change the slide. So I copied this. It's a definition from Wikipedia. These are all the things that an engineer is expected to do. And there's a lot of things here that you cannot learn to do by only listening and remembering the information. So when we teach, somehow we have to enable the students to develop skills that go beyond just repeating the information. Please change the slide. So we can ask, how do we teach students to innovate? So we have to both impart knowledge, we have to give them information, but we also have to help them to be curious. And we want our students to develop virtues, but we also want them to be free to make decisions. So how can we give students the tools that are principles and enable them to be creative and to explore new areas of technology? Please change the slide. So I wanted to show this to you. I don't know if you've seen this before. And this looks a lot like the triangle that was in the previous slide, or the previous presentation, but no? Okay, thank you. But these are the different levels of learning. And this is Bloom's taxonomy. So the lowest level of learning is remembering. So if students are only learning to remember things, and even to understand things, they're not going to be able to be creating things. So we have to help our students go up this plane by challenging them, by giving them the opportunities to experience design in the classroom, in the lab. Go ahead and change the slide. So I thought I would show you, there has been a lot of innovations in engineering education that have meant to give the students the possibility of learning these things. The old school was sitting and listening to a lecture. Here's one. Professor Berman stopped when he heard that unmistakable thud. Another brain had imploded. Here's a famous quote by Enrico Fermi, a physicist. Before I came here, I was confused about this subject. Having listened to your lecture, I'm still confused, but on a higher level. So more and more we are seeing that lecturing is not the most effective way for students to learn to be designing and analyzing and evaluating. So the new innovations in engineering education, I'm only showing you one slide about this topic, are the gold standard in higher education for engineers is project-based learning, where the students are given a project to do, and they actually learn the concepts by asking the questions. How do they solve this problem? And there's very little lecturing on the part of the professor. The lecturing is done on demand. So the professor sits at his desk in the classroom, and the students work, and when they don't understand something, they say, can you give a lecture on material balances? or some topic. Then the professor will get up and explain it to them, but it's already in their head that they need to understand this and why they need to understand it. So this is really the gold standard. But other areas that are also being used are inquiry-based learning, where the students also have to set up the experiment, collaborative learning, which involves solving problems together in groups, and the flipped classroom, where the professor puts the lectures online ahead of time, and then the students use the information and work together in class to solve problems. So the tendency is towards less and less passive learning on the part of the students, more and more active learning by the students. So the students are actually carrying out activities that are analogous to the type of things that they would do when they're working in industry, when they graduate. So I would like to point this, how many of you have heard of this? The Boomerati College of Engineering and Technology. How many people have heard about this? Okay, this is right out of this is out of India here. They started a program in this college, which is where they teach the students entrepreneurship in the engineering college. They offer a program on entrepreneurship to the engineering students. And they've had, since then, I just took a screenshot of the website, so you can't read everything. But look at this. One of the students' companies they started already has 450 employees. So initially the purpose for doing this was because this is in a small town in Hooghly. And the faculty were concerned that the students were leaving after they got their degrees and left, where they could find jobs. So they said, we need to make jobs here in Hooghly. So they started this program with entrepreneurship together with the engineering colleges. Okay, go ahead and change the slide. So this is my last slide, and I would like to encourage you, before I talk about this last slide, I would like to see a show of hands of how many of you are actually currently working in industry. Working in industry. You have a job right now in industry, or if you're working in academia, I'm trying to separate. How many of you are from industry, as opposed to from academia?
Industry.
Industry to teach.
No, I'm trying to see a show of hands.
Today we have only from academia. Tomorrow we have from industry.
Ah, okay, thank you. I was wondering because the partnering with the industry is what we need to do for the engineering students. Have the industries at least where I come from, the engineering, the people in industry love students. They love to work with students. They love to give talks, participate in their student club activities. It keeps them young. And it reminds them of the good old days. And they feel they're impacting the future of the country by working with the young engineers. So this is an excellent idea, and I would urge you, even if, I see that you are mostly on the academic side, but maybe this is also something that would be good for the management schools, is to have your local industry people, regardless of what industry it is, have them get involved, offering summer jobs, working with the student clubs, giving internships, because in this way, the students bring back their industrial experience to the classroom in the fall. And they bring their academic knowledge to the industry, because this way, the innovation that's happening, there's a lot of innovation happening in companies that can rub off on the students and get them excited about their future. And remind them why they're in school, because sometimes students forget why they're in school. They think the end is the degree, and then what comes after that is a separate, not an integrated part of their program. So I hope these ideas are useful for you, and I would be happy to entertain any questions. I'm probably not supposed to say that.
I will have that
Okay.
after all the presentations are
Great.
made.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Professor.